Thanks so much for including us and asking us to participate. My name is Patrick Seyferth and my wife Sandi.
Sandi Seyferth.
And we have 5 kids, and the oldest of them is John. And you'd asked us a little bit to tell some of the story as it relates to Rose Hill and how we came about going to that institution, and also what impact that it had on our lives. And we really don't need a script for that, because it's something that is near and dear to our hearts.
We had a long mental health history with our son John. When he was 18 in high school, we noticed some changes in his personality. We were suspecting that things just were not going so well for him. And over the course of the next 6 months, he spiraled to the point where he ended up in his first psychiatric hospitalization at Crittenton Hospital. And he spent, 3-4 weeks and was out, and over the course of the next 4 years was in and out of the hospital probably 8 times on all kinds of different medications and all different kinds of treatment and counseling and different strategies, and nothing seemed to work, and we were at a loss and decided to pursue looking into residential facilities for John. And our search led us to Georgia, and he ended up going down to a place down there that specialized in young adults, and they stabilized him just fine. And but when it was time to leave, it was basically, you're done. He had no.
It was a great facility, and the people were very good, but they didn't really have sort of, the aftercare transitional plan that we thought was so important. And so we started to, redouble our efforts. Now we're into our 4th+ year of dealing with our son's mental illness, which of course doesn't go away. And we actually were led to a friend whose daughter had gone to Rose Hill, and the gentleman was a board member at a facility called Pine Rest, which is a mental health institution on the west side of the state in Grand Rapids. And I was curious, because I thought, if somebody from Pine Rest is talking about Rose Hill, there must be something, to talk about. And so we spent some time with that gentleman. He told us a little bit about Rose Hill. And then we set up an appointment. And what I will say is, we learned beginning, with our first meeting, with Laura, of the approach that they took, which was very different. And we really felt kind of silly, because we'd been searching all over the country and, having hired all these, specialists to do searches. And then here it is, Rose Hill was virtually in our backyard.
So we were very interested in bringing him back to Michigan. And as Patrick said, we talked to Pine Rest was one of the places that we talked to, and Rose Hill kept coming up in conversation from people. Well, did you talk to Rose Hill? Did you talk to Rose Hill? I've heard really good things about Rose Hill. And we're like, we have an appointment with Rose Hill. We're meeting with them, the following week. And we went there, and as Patrick said, we met with Laura Mueller, and we were very impressed with the program, and especially with the work-based program that Rose Hill was offering. The work-based program intrigued us, because that was one thing that John never quite understood how to do, was how to be a productive person, and how hard work can lead to a very fulfilling life. And so that was one thing that we were very interested in him being a part of.
This is a kid who was a pretty healthy kid who had plans on going to Michigan State and all these things, and he did not want to go to Rose Hill at all. And from the inception, I would say the thing that really grabbed us the most and stayed with us is the people and the relationships that they formed, and just the treatment that they have. And so in addition to the people, they had a process, and the process was vertical. critical from when you came in the door as you graduated to these different levels, whether it's TLP and all the way through now 2.5 years later, and John is in another part of the program where he is still transitioning. But the people led by the leadership team is so strong at Rose Hill. I'm very grateful to Dan and Rosemary Kelly for their leadership and what they have done. We learned a little bit more about their son John, who lived there for many years and who we had come to know, and we're blessed to be part of his life and his experience. And so we feel that everything that we have gotten from Rose Hill is just such a blessing in our lives. We've been able to refer a few people there that have equally felt that way, and the yield from the investments that are made in Rose Hill pays off in spades, and has since Dan and Rosemary started this great institution years ago. I think Rosemary said it best when she says it's not a spa, and it's not. But I get very emotional, especially now having met Rosemary and seen her and known a little bit more about their experience.
A big thank you that for Dan and for Rosemary for starting Rose Hill. And for the investors that got involved and the people that have supported it through the years. There's nothing like it I don't even know how far from here, but in the Midwest for sure. And when you have a loved one with mental illness, you need a place like Rose Hill to help, to give you hope that there's a future. When we brought John out of Atlanta, I didn't think that he would work one day in his life, or just be productively on his own. But he's made so much progress, and the compassion that has come from everybody that we've dealt with has been really quite unbelievable.
When we dropped off John, who reluctantly came to Rose Hill in February of 2018, he was literally coming off the streets, having lived in Atlanta during the period where they actually had snow that year, and was destitute. And John now is in the transitional program at Rose Hill. He goes back once a week, and you would not recognize the difference. And his illness did not go away, and he will have mental illness his whole life. But what Rose Hill helps you to do is learn how to have the relationships among and between those of us who we love, with mental illness. And so your giving and your dollars support those things very directly. So the urgency for people to support this is as great as it has ever been. So we're grateful for everybody's support here, and proud to have been part of the team.